Okay, and just a moment, let us get rolling here. We got some people joining in. Welcome everyone to round 17 of the ZOR Tier-1 Australian Grand Prix. We got a different guy in the booth with us today. I'm taking the lead. Pace Dogs as Chicken had himself a little chicken nugget. Nice little child that just they had last week, so he's going to be stepping out of the booth for a while. And we're welcoming in GP Colin, my Tier 2 ZOR teammate. So how are you feeling, GP? Are you excited to be here for your first time up in the booth?
Absolutely. I can't wait. The Tier 1, there are just so many good drivers, so much competition and clean racing. This is going to be a blast. I'm very lucky to be here calling this race with T1.
Yeah, I was excited to get you in here. We always have good banter back and forth during our race. Good talks, always good chat. So, you know, and you're my teammate, so I had to go with you. We got the Ferrari boys in the booth today, so I'm excited for it. Everybody in the chat that just joined, if you can hear GP fine, let us know so he can adjust his mic levels if need be.
I have an update. Team Money says that we have dry qualifying and race.
Imagine that, Tier 1 with the dry everything.
Yeah, incredible. Tier 2 is just not that lucky.
Yeah, so we got, as I said, the Australian Grand Prix here. Obviously, one of the street circuits. People may not realize that all the time, but I would assume you would with the markings on the road. The strategy today, they could go soft, hard, soft, medium. We'll get into that here shortly, I assume, GP, seeing what people quali on. It's a 5.3 kilometer track, 16 turns. We're going to be looking at a 50% race today as normal, which will be 29 laps for these guys here in Tier 1. So, GP, take us through your possible race strategies, as I know you were in the car today looking at it, maybe possible setups, possible wing settings. Just take us through what you're thinking about it, as we got Doth, I think, crossing the line here first. Never mind, that was just his flying. He's heading out on a hot lap now, so go ahead, GP.
Yeah, God, I saw it all. There were soft to hard strategies, race strategies. There were medium to hard race strategies. So, and what I saw a lot of was that these these drivers were banking on an incident, a safety car, because immediately upon a safety car, they were going to the softs, regardless of at what point they were at in the race. As long as they weren't already on the softs. But so I would assume that we're going to see a mixture at the top. But with Tier 1, these guys are so fast that I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lot of mediums as through the top 10. And then they would go from there either to the hards or bank on the safety car and then go from there. Maybe the softs and then mediums to finish.
I'm glad you went through all that today. That's a big help to know what people are going to be planning for race time. As you were speaking, and just now, Doth, 121.3 sets the heater on the softs. We had Andre and Camden just behind. Camden was on the medium, so he'll probably go back out. But
yeah, so I guess softs are going to be the way the top 10 really has to start.
Well, you know how it goes. I mean, you plan first strategy. Safety car ruins that strategy. So you're going to just base off what happens in the race, try to get track position at the beginning for the most part, at least the way things have been going recently. We got a McLaren of Axton, Tier 2 buddy here in the race tonight. He spins just at the beginning, heading into Sector 3 on the quick right-hander. I'm assuming he's going to go in and fit the sauce as well shortly. So GP, since you're up here new, in the booth. What are your predictions? Maybe your podium, your P1 guy, and possibly a sleeper for the race today. Keep in mind we do have our buddy Axon, we have Arrow striking here, and Wolfsburg, all Tier 2 boys racing with the Tier 1 guys tonight. So take us through your thoughts.
Tier 2 guys. Love them. Great bunch of guys. Great bunch of guys. Great racers. Always respectful on the track. Not giving away anything, but if you've got the position from them, they're going to pass. I'll let you go. So, you know, Doth is so freaking due to have a win. I have to go with Doth. Doth is gonna win this race. We have no rain in the forecast, so provided there, although he claims it's the safety car that really gets him, but so I think Doth will win, and then Arrow is always strong in our Tier 2, but even in the T1, he's always put himself in a strong position. So I think he would be my sleeper.
GP, gonna stop you for a minute, and we'll have you go through those two guys really quickly just after. But bump your mic up a tad. Bones said you're a touch quiet, so maybe a few clicks up.
See if I can figure that out.
But if anybody couldn't hear GP's pick, which is a guy I normally pick myself, he went with Doth, and Doth, I'm in agreement. He is due, definitely due. I didn't quite catch his sleeper, but he'll get back to us once he touches the mic up. Puff Digital takes P1 at the moment, beating Doth by 3/10. So my prediction, personally, I might have to go with Mr. Let's Get Digital, Puff, for the race win tonight. But I'm gonna keep in mind of Arrow. I know Axton says he has some troubles with these tracks. Beck retires from the session. I believe that is a spin and maybe a crash out of turn 2, heading down the short DRS straight. Unfortunate for Beck, really good guy, but I don't know what happened there. Didn't quite catch it. GP, how's your mic now? You get it.
I'm trying to. You're gonna have. Jeez, I'm pro. Why am I not able to turn that up?
So you're going to go into party settings, and you're going to go down to the mic volume and click it up a couple notches.
Okay.
Maybe not party settings, maybe down to sounds and devices when you hold your PSN button.
Oh no, we got it right here. I think you were right the first time. Adjust microphone level.
As we're working out that, I'm trying to get GP's mic a little louder.
Better?
Let GP know if you can hear his mic in there, Barton, please.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la.
As we're getting that figured out, JFD sets a 121.1 just behind Puff. So we got the normal guys. We're gonna see that battle. GP, I know you have the points from the German Grand Prix, as we did not have them updated from Baku, being that our resident points rider has been feeling under the weather lately. But I don't think there's much change after Baku. So take us through what we're looking at points-wise between. I know JFD and Puff are close.
Yep. So we have after Germany, JFD 231, Puff 206. Zenith just a little bit further behind at 163, Doth at 150, so those two are battling pretty close. A little drop off to RC, which is at 129, and Camden at 120. Beck at 92, T-Money 73, and then it gets really tight here. Arbiga in 9th has 68, D-Zig in 10th has 60, Ryan in 11th has 60.
Oh, Andre Souza takes a spin in the quick left-hander. Sorry to cut you off there.
Nope, not a problem.
Seems like he's got some hot tires, but I do know those points are pretty jumbled up there. As we said, things may have changed a tad bit after Baku, but I don't think many positions shuffled around. So, but GP, once again, who was your sleeper for the race tonight? I know you mentioned you were gunning for Doth here. So
Arrow. Arrow is my
Strike.
sleeper because he's just so darn good. He's very consistent. He's solid. He can extend his tires like no other. So he's my sleeper for sure. He's going to give Doth a run for his money.
T-Money jumping up there as well, third place. So what we got right now, we got Puff, JFD, T-Money, Doth, and Axton setting up top. I don't believe Arrow has set a quick time yet, unless he's going for the
Arrow had gone
alternate
out on the
strategy.
hards.
He's on the
He had gone
mediums
out on the
currently, so maybe he's trying to start mediums. We do have 7 minutes left, so we'll see what happens with that. Sit on board here with Arrow, see what he does here on the medium tires. He's going to let somebody go around believing he's about to start a hot lap. What do you think, GP, in regards to safety cars? I know we've been having a lot lately, especially Baku, a track where there's not any runoffs at all, but this being a street circuit as well, we do have runoffs. So what are you thinking, collisions, wrecks, safety cars? Do you think we're going to have a lot of them?
I would say we're going to have 2. I think we're going to have 2, and it's not going to be, it's going to be because of turn 11, I believe it is. I'm trying to pull up that the map right now, but it's the left right-hander. There's a wide drift to the left, and if you're not careful coming through there, and probably 6th gear, and you catch that curb, you will lose it. So I believe that we'll get a couple of those there, and typically when you crash there, you lose a tire, and it typically will bring out a safety car.
As we got Barton in the chat saying no, please no to the safety cars. Brings a lot of work to the stewards when we have safety cars come out, especially after these last few races.
Yeah, it would be the combination, turn 12, essentially. Losing it on turn 12 is, I think that's where we'll get at least 1 caution tonight.
I would have to agree with that, especially, and then we gotta hope that everybody's gets the safety car restarts figured out. Puff Digital sets another heater, 120.7, so he's picking up the speed definitely. Arrow Strike comes in 10th right now at the moment on the medium tire lap. Maybe he's going for an alternate strategy to the other guys. All softs and mediums at the moment. But back to what we were saying, I had a talk with Doth, who was in the lead last week in the Baku, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix under safety car. Technically, the first car is the finish line. So if he wanted to, he could go 5 miles an hour all the way down the straight, and no one can pass him. When he goes, everybody goes, and I think people want to NASCAR it almost and get a jump. Hopefully they can beat a person, but in reality, you want to go for the moves in the turns. Obviously, it's not a great plan to try to make a jump on somebody, because if you do pass and it's too early, you have to give it back, which causes braking on a straight. Braking on a straight equals to a jumbled pack, which in turn equals to what we had last week, jumbled up cars, wrecks, not getting a restart done right.
Yep. I forget who it was that mentioned it, but they presented such the perfect analogy.
That was me.
That was you. Basically, you're right, actually, and forgive me if you just said this, but the first car behind the pace car is the start-finish line. You cannot pass that car until you actually get beyond the start-finish line. So, very simple, very clear. Hopefully, these guys are experienced. I don't think that there's going to be any problems with that.
Yeah, out of all the things that could be an issue, it seems like that's the issue the most up until recently, safety car issues. I do think it's nice that it pushes the pack back together so there's no clean breakaways. It keeps exciting racing. But if people can't figure out the correct way to start it, and unfortunately, even if most people do know, and there's some that don't, the some that don't can create havoc for the rest of the field. So hopefully, if there are any safety cars, maybe they get it right this week.
Yeah, I think, again, a lot of these, every one of these guys is very, many of these guys are new to the league within, just this season. I think everybody here has been here for at least this season. I don't expect any issues with restarts. The most important thing with the restarts is that you stay consistent speed, basically. Everybody's always trying to jump to start, but there's really no reason to, particularly if you're fourth or fifth, sixth, or any further down from there. You need to just stay close to the guy in front of you and wait for them to go. You can't guess. The only guy that can guess is the guy in second, basically.
Yeah, great, valid point. 100% correct, spot on, I would say. So GP, we touched on at the very beginning. We got 2 minutes left before I hand it over to you to walk us through the grid. But what are you thinking? How are you feeling? You've almost got your first quali under your belt in the booth here. It's my first quali as the lead man, so hopefully I'm doing the best I can at the moment. But how are you feeling now that you've got a little bit of time under your belt? Are you ready for the race?
You're making it easy for me. That's how I feel. You're doing a great job, and I'm able to just say what I need to say when I need to say it. You're taking the lead, and I think that we should be able to cover the race like it should be covered, hopefully as best as it can be covered.
Well, big shout out to Chicken as well, because I don't think I would be able to lead as well as maybe if I am doing well at the moment. I feel pretty comfortable, but he helped me out with that as well, so I was hoping I could get that over to you. Ginnett retires from the session in 15th on the mediums, maybe just deciding to go with the medium compound for the race. Only got 2 drivers at the moment, Beck, who retired in 18th, mediums, and Ginnett in 15th on the mediums, so we could be looking at an all-soft grid. But GP, 45 seconds left in quali. If anything changes, you can just call it out as you go, but take us through a quick walkthrough of the field.
So as it stands right now, Puff Digital has the pole. 120.729. JFD is in second. Third goes to T-Money. Axton, not a surprise. Fourth. Doth, a surprise. Fifth. Bezig, his teammate in the Ferrari, only 5,000th of a second behind his teammate Doth, in sixth. Camden Luca, the first Mercedes, in at 121.4. Stig, the first, I believe that is the, there we go.
Doth jumps up to third as you're going through with a 121 flat.
There we go. Well, he should, because I called him to take this race. So Stig is in 8th, Biga in 9th, and Andre Souza in 10th. 11th is Sam Aerostrike in 12th, a surprise. He might be on track. Let me confirm whether he is or not. I think he's just crossing the line.
Aerostrike's fourth place.
He moved up to 4th. Yep, not a surprise there. He likes to do that right at the last minute, and why not? So that brings Big Up down to 10th. Ryan in 11th. Andre drops down to 12th. Sam in 13th. Gruesome 14th. Ginnett in the on the mediums in 15th. Wolfsburg, our T2 teammate, is in 16th. Coxey in 17th. Beck 9,000 on the mediums in 18th, and Lit Romney, Alaskan Dad, on the softs in 19th. No time for either Beck nor Lit Romney.
And as you were going through that grid, we had JFD shuffle up the 1-2 spot between Puff. Beats Puff by less than a tenth. So very tight, going to be very quick for the front two boys here.
And T1, the Tier 1, they're just, I wouldn't expect it to be any different. There's so many classy, great drivers. this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun.
And as we go through the race, GP, just keep a little eye on the chat there. If we get anybody commenting on the way through, we will try to answer as much as we can. Hopefully Chicken jumps in the chat a little bit later. He said he might come in and throw some questions our way, but as GP said, top 3 at the moment, JFD, Puff Digital, Doth. JFD, Puff are heated battle. I think the maybe possible change after Baku, Puff may have gained a few points on JFD, believing that Puff finished 4th, JFD finished 5th. So very heated for the 1 and 2 spot currently in the Tier 1 standings. Going to be exciting race though. Wild street circuit. Lots of fast guys here in this league, as you said. Also, everybody's starting pretty much on the soft tire compound, so same strategies at the moment. Lots of people in the pits at the moment, but go ahead, GP.
I was going to ask you to put out another request on whether they can hear me or not. I haven't had any responses regarding my audibility.
All right, just send it through. See if everybody's okay and can hear you all right.
And if they can't, that's not necessarily a bad thing. BP is audible, says Arrow Strike. How he can race and comment to that level is incredible to me.
Well, he's not racing at the moment. But no, it is nice. I think the guys like to do listen to the broadcast because they get a little bit of insight on what's going on. Time penalties come out, they might not hear it. It's a good strategy. We're going to get the formation lap going here, though. And once again, touch base, top 5, JFD, Puff Digital, Doth, Arrow, T-Money. So GP, your predictions, you're pulling for Doth here. I think I'm going to have to throw it JFD's way, and maybe my sleeper being Arrow as well, but I would love to see a good finish for Axton, one of our good buddies, Tier 2 guy. Possibly something I said I would mention before in the pre-race talk, Axton Team Money, previous Tier 2 teammates. maybe there's a little, throw it in, a little possible bad blood.
There's a little bad blood there. It's little. It's in jest. It's fun, but there's some bad blood there.
Yeah, you'd like to just make it a little more exciting, saying something's going on there between the two, but could be interesting to see how they battle it out. I know they're both great drivers, so it's going to be a fun one. Crazy wild street circuit, as you said. I'm sure we're going to see some cautions, possibly a safety car between turn 11 and 12 there, but any final thoughts, GP, before we go green?
Yeah, so JFD, by his own description, is he's not a great qualifier. He is a consistent lap driver. He has great he has good race pace. For him to be on pole here, that's telling to me.
Absolutely.
So I would, I look for an upset based on my prediction of Doth taking the checkered flag. I think JFD, if everything goes smoothly, will probably win this race. Arrow Strike, my sleeper, I still think he might come up there and give him
all right. Appreciate the comments there, GP. We're getting ready to go round 17 here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights, and we are away. Round 17 Australian Grand Prix. Looks like JFD gets a bit of a slow start. Puff's going to work him. heading down into turn 1. He holds the inside line. Doth and JFD take some touches. We already got a yellow flag. Not sure what happened back there. Andre Souza, 5-second penalty for collisions. Looks like we got D-Zig and Doth. D-Zig and Doth very back. Safety car is out. Not really sure what happened as I was following Puff, but I think we had the Ferraris side by side into turn 1 and 2. So the safety car does come out right away. Could we see here the guys dive in to maybe make a tire strategy change?
I would say, so I was trying to follow Camden Luke at the time and fumbling through my camera settings, and I just saw in front of Camden Luke something occur. I couldn't say who it was, but it was certainly between turn 1 and turn 2 in that sequence there. There was a little bit of a collision between a couple cars. Nothing major. Nobody's out of the race, but there was enough, obviously, to bring out the safety car.
Yeah, looks like off the start here we had Beck pick up 4, Andre Souza pick up 4 positions, T-Money and Axton also pick up 2, along with Camden. Biga picks up 3, so a bunch of jumbling going on there, with D-Zig and Doth losing 11 and 16 positions respectively. Very unfortunate for Doth being up there in the front. As we said, not too sure what happened. I think they just got together, maybe got a little bit of a spin out of turn 1. We'll see if anybody decides to dive in here. Looks like Camden and R. Biga hop in the pits. That's the only 2 cars at the moment. We'll see if those Ferraris at the back of the pack decide to dive in as well. And they do. So Lit Romney, D-Zig, and Doth all decide to dive in. Decent time for a double box for the Ferraris under the safety car. Wing change for D-Zig. He's going to throw on the softs again, I believe. And we'll see what Doth does.
Forgive me, Pace. I'm trying to learn the on the fly here with the cameras. I'm trying to follow a particular driver, but I'm give me a few laps. I will figure it out.
Oh, you're fine. Take your time. As I was going through there, announcer sounds like he has a little flame, a little twang in his voice. I wonder who that is.
That's gonna be me.
D-Zig and Doth and Lit, along with Camden and Beck, all have the hard tire compound on, so they're going to be trying to push a little bit deeper into this 29-lap race. But we got the guys at the front formed up behind the safety car, waiting on the rest of the field to bunch up. We will see. GP, keep your eyes up at the front, possible to mid-pack. See if everybody gets away. As we were just saying before the race started, we figured that there would be a safety car. See if the boys can get it right now. We do have JFD, T-Money up there with Puff, and also is Axton and Arrow, so I know those guys can handle it. See if they get away smoothly through this safety car. Maybe change some people's opinions about it.
Yeah, I think that they're going around again. I found that the safety car notification will come in, as in most most tracks, at the end of sector 2, beginning of sector 3. Yeah, we're going around again, obviously.
Yeah, GP, go ahead and put your mic closer to your mouth.
Okay.
And test it out and let me hear how it sounds. Give us a testing 1, 2, 3 here.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Sounds much better. Sounds much better.
Okay. Okay. I think it was. I was kind of crouched forward here, trying to figure out the cameras. So I apologize.
You got your readers on.
Well, no, not even that. It's just that it's a little different. No, I can see far, no problem. And the comments is where I need the readers. But trying to follow the leaders and the guys on track with the camera type, and to try to easily shift between one driver to the next to give a coherent description of what's going on has been a challenge right now.
I do.
That's what I'm trying to learn.
I do have an identity on Mr. Gary in the chat. One of my friends, one of my best friends from back home, decided to jump in the chat tonight. His name really isn't Gary, but my co-commentator tonight is a Gary. So
how about that?
Thanks for jumping in. If you have any questions about how all this stuff works, just ask away in there. We'll get back to you on an answer.
So is the twang in the voice a shot at you or me?
It's probably me.
Okay.
He's a big Chicago guy now. He's a chai latte boy now. That's all he gets into. One of those fancy boys, drinks with his pinky out. One more time for the safety car. One more time around. Doth is catching up to the pack here. It looks like he went back in, possibly through on the mediums. Dzig stays on the hards. So I will get back to the position change. Just wanted to make sure everybody gets a good picture at the... Oh, never mind. Safety car goes in, GP.
Oh my word. My apologies.
We are green. We are green. Puff Digital heading down into turn 1. They're all following suit, just staying in line. Looking clean, like a clean getaway for all the guys. Good job. Props to Tier 1 drivers on a clean safety car restart. JFD right there with Puff, staying on his tail. We'll move back a little bit, see what we got in the mix. We got the cars all single file moving together. A few more laps, the DRS is going to be coming out, so we'll see some positions start to fumble. Check the position change. Andre Souza picks up 6, as well as Sam. I believe that's through pit stops possibly. Puff Digital hits the grass, gets a little loose. JFD takes the lead, heading down into what GP called the dangerous turn 11 and 12.
Forgive me, Pace, I'm still just trying to get myself acclimated here with the camera.
Oh, take your time. Take your time. You're all good. We got a lot of laps. So, as we were saying, JFD takes the lead. We got a yellow flag, sector 3. Looks like Stig goes off. He is going to not look like he has much damage, maybe just a spin. Turn 11 and 12, as we said, dangerous part of the track. So, JFD is pulling a slight gap here on Puff Digital. T-Money right there with Puff, as well as Axton just behind, all within a second, all the way down to 6th place. Great racing is normal here in Tier 1. How you doing, GP? You got it figured?
Good. What I need to be able to do is pull up on the left-hand side, basically the full grid. For whatever reason, I don't have that. Telemetry is enabled. So in other words, I can't see spacing between, or gaps between different drivers right now. So
you have to go to gap interval. Scroll over to the gap section on the spectator menu. Select interval.
Interval, yep.
And then you should have the interval between drivers. Oh no, Andre Souza. He goes off. Same place as we said before. Yellow flag, sector 3. Very beginning of sector 3. Turn 11 and 12. Proving to be very deadly at the moment for everyone.
Everything is enabled. I'm sorry here. I'm just trying to... why don't I have that info on the side? Anyhow, alright, well... I keep fighting around with that forever.
Gary, you need to get your stuff together, as
Gary
in the chat says. Gary in the chat's talking a little smack on you there.
Hey, come on board. Sit down next to me over here.
So as we were going through, top 5 all within a second of each other, interval-wise. And 7th place, 6th place, 3-second gap behind Aerostrike. You getting it worked over there?
I'm working on it. I'm working on
right,
technical difficulties.
Right.
Technical difficulties.
It happens sometimes. It's all good. We'll just stay here with the leaders at the moment, as JFD's still trying to hold that gap on Mr. Puff Digital. Axton there holding 4th place off of one of our two fellow Tier 2 drivers, Axton and Arrow, just together there.
Oh, there we go. I don't know how
the bad blood between Axton and T-Money possibly could be coming to a quick view here soon, as they are right together there. Gonna start getting pretty tight here between JFD and Mr. Puff Digital.
Alright, I'm on. Alright, here we go.
Okay, GP is back.
I finally have data on the left side of the screen.
So what are you thinking, GP? First 7 laps into the race, what are we looking at? What's your technical analysis on the just go through your thoughts for us real quick.
So my thoughts right now are I'm surprised that from 10th down is where we have our pit stops having occurred. 1 through 10, I'm sorry, 1 through 9, nobody has pitted yet. That to me is a little bit of a surprise. I don't know why. I guess seeing Doth back there already with 2 stops, a little disconcerting. I don't know why and what happened to him, but
seems as he maybe went in on the hards, had a second thought, jumped back in to fit the medium tires. Possibly he needed a wing change and the pit guys decided not to do it. That could be one of the answers, who knows.
Yeah, so you still get the top 5 on the softs, 6 and 7, Janet and Ryan on the mediums, Sam on the softs and 8th, and then Beck and Camden on the hards. Beck and Camden both have been, they must have come in on the first lap in that incident, because 1 through 6, oh, my apologies, they are all on the same tire that they started on, 1 through 9.
Yes,
No
I do believe so. All those guys decided to stick with what they started with. Puff Digital, whether it's under DRS or just quick driving, has closed that gap to JFD down. He's right there with him. Then just behind, still within a second, T-Money. Back to Arrow, who's got a second behind Axton. So top 4 here, really battling it out. And we have a safety car. Gonna go back. It looks like it is Coxie.
Wow, I don't see it anywhere.
Coxie, I believe. Yes, Coxie there at the near the end of sector 1, just after turn 5. Probably took a spin there, hit the grass, touched the wall.
Unfortunate.
Missed that one, is at the back of the pack. But here's what
Very
GP predicted, everyone. As he said before the race, at least 2 safety cars. And within 8 laps, we have gotten those. So,
I think
JFD, T-Money, Axton, Arrow, and we'll see if Ginnett decides to do the same. Maybe not that he's on the mediums. He's going to stay out, it looks like at the moment. Yes, he will. So top 5 dive into the pits. Looks as if they're going to fit the hards, try to go the long route. Stig picks up 5 points, 5 seconds. Yeah,
stayed out.
Arrow's gonna go mediums. JFD's gonna go mediums. T-Money Axton fit hards as well as Puff.
Yeah, I think that was I think for Axton that's a great choice, because he's very consistent. He doesn't make mistakes. Solid. His lap times are very consistent. I think that's a great choice for him. JFD, the mediums, also very consistent. I think that he is probably banking on another safety car going to the mediums, and he's looking to move up before that happens.
Yeah, I do think that's a good strategy there, as Barton was saying. JFD did lose out there in the pits. He was leading Puff. Puff comes out 6th, JFD comes out 10th. Not sure what happened there. Maybe held up in the pits a little longer. but I think that's great for the soft runners at the front. They got to throw in the hards as the tire. You can go all the way to the end. Run 20 laps on those tires, you should be perfectly fine. Not sure what Aero and JFD might be doing, possibly predicting another safety car. As we've seen 8 laps in the race, we have 2 already. So,
you know, in all honesty, I think a full safety car is more likely to happen here than even at Monaco. That sounds kind of silly, but Monaco is good for, you know, a couple, 3. I think that here, because of that sequence of turns, there, turn 11 and 12, and guys really can, if you hit it just right, you can push through there and make up a lot of time. I think that it's a death trap. If you miss it, you're basically done. You're really wagering everything there if you're getting too aggressive.
yeah, I would have to agree. The Monaco, obviously very dangerous, very technical track. This is technical as well as it is high speed, even though it is a street circuit.
Right.
Baku, dangerous place as well, as we saw last week. I know you weren't in the booth, but you were in that race, correct? Or did you not?
In which, I'm sorry, which...
Did you race in Baku?
Yes.
Okay. Well, as we saw, both you in this race and then us in Tier 2, dangerous track, no runoffs. This is a street circuit as well, so it is slick, but there are runoffs, but the runoffs are grass. So if you do go off, touch that grass going high speed, no traction control, you're looking at facing the wrong way shortly after that.
Terminal damage.
Terminal damage, as
Terminal
GP
damage.
coins it.
If I may, I'd like to give a shout out to your friend Gary Bucci. He says, can tell Gary has done his homework. Thank you, Gary Bucci, or however you pronounce his name.
If you knew how not even close his name is to Gary, you would laugh.
Okay. So I'm blown away that Doth is in 13th.
Well, he went back in there, throws on the hards again. So that's 3 pit stops for him. I think he did 2 under the first safety car. He was on the medium, so I think it's a good idea to go ahead and fit those hard tires. Possibly go to the end. But we got Bones here. Gennett and Beck on the restart. Can't watch. It's going to definitely be something to see, as I think we're going green this lap. What Gennett and Beck do as we're about to finish off the second safety car.
Just want to give a shout out to Arbiga right now, who is in 4th, and on the mediums.
Great showing for Arbiga. We are green. It looks like everybody's getting away perfectly fine. Camden backed up a tad close to Camden. Camden's going to tuck in behind him. They're all going to go single file through turn 1 and 2. But Beck is fairly quick out of here, as we have said before earlier on in the stream. He's on the same lapped tires as Gennett, although they are the hards compared to the mediums. So we'll see if Gennett's tires start to fade off here and Beck can make a move. Keep in mind, 6th through 10th are those original top 5 leaders on the softs previously. They're going to try to start pushing up to get in there in that top 5 mix as well. We'll see how long we can go green before the next safety car.
We have Aero all over Axon. Axon on the hard tires, 2-lap-old hards. Aero on the mediums, 2-lap-old mediums. And he's given Aero a lot to think about. I'm sorry, Axon a lot to think about. And Axon is looking ahead of him to his former teammate, Team Money, who is also on 2-lap-old hards. And
oh, Aero takes a peek. Aero dives in.
Inside, he's taking the position.
He is clear of Axton. Solid move there. Clean racing by the two Tier 2 drivers there. Sure, Axton hates to see Aero. Oh, and Axton goes a little deep. He's going to lose another one to JFD. That has to be
smart enough to realize that the race is still 16 laps.
We do have a lot of racing left, that is correct, but I'm sure it's gutting to see. I know Axton hates to see Aero go by him, as we all do. Aero's a quick guy. Tough to keep pace with. Regardless, good showing still here for Axton. When these pit strategies change up, we should see him back up there in the top 5 along with these guys. So just keeping an eye on the... Oh, we got a safety car.
Yeah.
Safety car. That is Lit Romney. I believe it's the same as before. Turn 4 and 5. The quick left out of the end of the DRS straight, back right. You touch that curb, you're going to hit the grass, and you're going to hit the wall. And we all know what a wall does to an F1 car, unfortunately.
Pace, I need a moment. I'll be right back.
Go ahead, you're fine. So we're going to keep an eye here, possibly on Ginett, Beck, Camden, and Biga and Dzig being on the 7-lap older tires. Who knows, will they decide to dive in? Ginett has gained 14 positions thus far in the race, but he might decide to dive in here, go ahead and fit the new tires. Beck stays out. Ginett stays out. We do have Biga diving in. I think could be the smart move at the moment. Go ahead and dive in. Go with a quick tire change so you can make it to the end. We're going to see if Ginett can make it that long on those older 12-lap old medium tires. He's probably going to be very quick as usual, Ginett being a quick guy, but moving that far into the race, lots of laps on those mediums could be rough. So that's going to go ahead and move Puff into 5th, being on those all the guys on the 4-lap old tires there. Axton decides to jump in the pits as well. Comes back out on the mediums. So he's back there with 16th with Biga. But as we said, 13 laps in, 3 safety cars. So I don't think the crashing and rough racing is done quite yet. Lots of laps left. Plenty of time for things to change. And I believe we're going to welcome back Mr. GP Colin, as he had to step out of the booth for a moment.
Yep, back in the booth.
So GP, while you were gone, we had the original top 5 guys, including Puff, T-Money, Arrow, JFD, and Axton decided to jump in the pits with Biga and fit the mediums. So he's going to be clear to the end on the faster tire compound. Ginett and Beck, I believe, okay at the moment, because he is on the hards. Ginett on the 12-lap old mediums. Just repeating this for GP as he was gone so he could catch up. Ginett on the 12-lap old mediums. Do you think he should have went in, GP? And do you think he can make it? I don't believe so on the 12-lap olds. Yes.
He's in trouble. He's in trouble. Even Beck. I would have to say Puff and T-Money right now are sitting pretty. Even Arrow on the mediums, if there is something else to occur.
Yeah, smart move there by Arrow and JFD, picking the mediums. We thought maybe it had been a poor decision before. They're going to go ahead and pick those mediums as they did last pit stop and just get a few free laps here out of the safety car to let those mediums roll a little longer into the race.
Yeah, and I think that Doth pretty much, if he wants to win this race, has to stay out regardless of what occurs, depending on how it plays out. I mean, depending on where a potential incident occurs, he's going to want to stay out there on those hards.
Well, we got Barton here saying that he thinks Ginett can go to the end because of the free laps on the mediums. Something I hadn't really thought about. You got to think those mediums that he's been driving on, he's gotten what, between 3 safety cars, 6, 7 free laps, 8 free laps. So we're in lap 14, so he's got almost probably half of this race free through safety car laps. So not much wear heading onto those medium tires. Possibly good to the end. He might be slow, yes, I would agree, Barton. But Beck, as we said, rapid quick here. Going to be just behind him, battling for that spot, as well as Camden. Two also very quick guys: D-Zig, Puff, T-Money, Arrow, JFD, Doth, Sam rounding off the top 10. Got Biga and Axton though, two people to watch back there on the brand new mediums. Will they move up into the top 10? I'd like to think so. Possibly if these guys in front decide to pit. But as GP said, we're going to go green here this lap. Let's go on board here with Beck 9,000 trillion million, as Chicken like to call him. I'll throw that in for the man. As we go green here at the Australian Grand Prix lap, coming on lap 15, third safety car of the race. Wild so far. Let's see if we get this off going right.
I'm going to ride on board with Arrow, first car, after Zenith on the mediums.
And we go green. Zenith gets a great start out of it. Beck falls a decent bit, 7/10, 8/10 behind. Camden right on his gearbox. So, oh, Stig picks up a disqualification. He ignored the drive-through penalty. Wonder if that was on purpose. Wonder if he's done. Beck picks up a 3-second. So GP,
Arrow.
if you know how, could you go ahead and jump into the race director and check on time penalties for me? See if Zenith at the moment is clear and clean with Beck just behind him with the 3-second. And as GP looks for that, we will just set on board here. Why don't we just check to see who has the time penalties? Check and see if Zenith has picked up any time penalties.
Yep.
As Beck picks up that 3-second, so that leaves Zenith with a good little gap in front.
Zenith just got warnings.
Okay.
Beck. A 3-second penalty, plus a warning.
Beck with the penalty leaves Zenith sailing pretty clean at the moment. If he can just lengthen that gap out to secure that position. Camden's fallen a second behind Beck, so he's out of DRS range at the moment. Puff Digital also out of DRS range from Camden. So we got a good little battle. Axton moves up to 14th with Biga in 13th respectively. Will they make a push here into the top 10?
So JFD has gotten past Arrow, both on mediums, same 7-lap-old. I was looking for Arrow Strike to make a move on T-Money, who's on 7-lap-old hards. He failed to do that, and apparently something happened. JFD has gotten by Arrow. So JFD is now in D, his consistency in lap times. He's looking really good now. Ahead of Pup Digital in 4th on 15-lap-old hards, Camden Luca. Great job. But 15-lap-old hards with some faster drivers behind him. He's got to stay on his toes. Now Beck on 16-lap-old hards, a very fast driver. He can probably make those go to the end and probably, hold on, maybe for a podium. Zenith on 17-lap-old mediums in first is probably begging right now for another caution, full caution, because those 17-lap-old mediums are not going to go another 11 laps. At least they may survive, but he will get past easily. Interesting, Axton, Tier 2 driver, good friend, back in 12th, 5-lap-old mediums. Everybody in front of him is on a hard tire, or at least the next 4 drivers are on at least 9-lap-old hards. So he will definitely make his way through there. He's just too darn good to sit back in 12th with those guys in front of him. Whether he can get up to Arrow Strike and JFD remains to be seen. If there is any VFC where he can save his tires a little bit, he might be able to make that push towards the end.
Well, thank you for that, GP, while I figured that issue out. I think we just had a momentary delay. Not too sure what happened. Hopefully in the playback everybody will be okay. We got a Sector 3 yellow flag. It looks like that is Andre Souza about touches get out of the grass.
God.
VSC coming out because Andre stuck in the middle of the track as it looks. Checking in with T-Money here. Negative. It could be T-Money. T-Money takes a spin out of turn 16. Checking to see. Can't get a good camera view at the moment. Maybe he has a little wing damage. Yeah, he's missing both end plates. So he's definitely going to need to jump in. Very unfortunate for T-Money there. Sitting up front, looking nice.
So while that occurred, Zenith has pitted, and he is now on the softs.
So Zenith takes the softs, as GP
Drop
points
down
out.
13.
He's going to end up in 13th. VSC ends. Zenith's going to be out in 13th. Have 10 laps to go on those softs. Can he possibly pull a lot of positions out of those quicker tires? Axton and Arbiga move respectively into 9th and 10th. Axton's right on the tail of Sam M226, heading through turn 11 and 12, the hot corners as we have seen this far in the race. Hope everything's fine in the stream in there, fellas. Not too sure what happened. I do have a wired internet connection, never have lag issues in the race, so not too sure why I did that. Maybe next week I'll just throw it on the 720p into the 60 frame per second. Maybe that was the issue, not too sure. It's a learning curve at the moment, since Mr. Chicken had to step out and I'm taking the lead. But go ahead, GP, you were saying?
Up Digital is, I'd mentioned Camden Luca earlier was going to have his work cut out for him on those 18 lap old hards. He is now looking in his rearview mirror and seeing a full Red Bull of Puff Digital all over him on 11 lap old hards. I think that this is basically just a few turns away from Puff Digital setting his sights on Beck, who is about 2 seconds, just under 2 seconds ahead of him now.
Yeah, great way to point that out. That is true, as we spoke about before, with the tire changes that the guys made, the original top 5. The Camden and Beck on the 19 and 18 lap old hards. Puff Digital getting really digital right on the back of Camden Luca. Going to make a move here on the outside. Brakes later than Camden, and he's going to pull that pass out. Quality pass, quality driving by both. Puff takes it a little wide, gets on the rumble strips. Tough to accelerate off those things, but he makes it stick. So he's going to be chasing down Beck Trillion Million, Mr. 9000. For
and
this,
of course, now you've got JFD and Aerostrike both now haunting Camden Luca. I would not want to be in his shoes right now. I'd be shaking.
Rough place for Camden to be, for sure.
For sure.
We do have to remember, again, it sets the fastest lap of the race, but we do have to remember Beck has that 3-second time penalty. And as most of us know, Puff is a pretty clean racer. I would assume he's clean at the moment. Haven't seen anything at the bottom of the screen. So we'd like to think he's rolling pretty well as to time penalty issues. So once he closes in, he is within 3 seconds of Beck. So he is our theoretical leader at the moment.
Puff has 2 warnings.
Puff has 2 warnings. So clear time penalty wise. Thank you for that, GP. Clear at the moment as he Puff Digital 3-second time penalty as we just called the warning. So he is on an equal playing field. We're going to see a 1-2 battle here between Beck and Puff. Strictly off of cleanup race pace because they are on level playing field penalty wise. Camden looks like he's about to fall into the grasp of JFD. Getting very racy here, back and forth. JFD on those quick tires as well as Aero. Great for them. Doff, very unfortunate start of the race, moving near the back with his teammate D-Zig, as we remember on lap 1, turn 1. But we got Doff and Axton both moved up back into the top 10. Good for Bigga as well. P8.
Doff is looking good.
Oh, JFD and Camden getting very close, right on the gearbox. Arrow's there as well. Going to be huge for Doff. It's going to get him in the mix. Looks like Camden's slowing these guys down.
Interesting to note.
Oh,
no.
Got that on camera. JFD retires. Hits the wall. That's a VSC coming out as we've already had the safety cars. Huge for Axton. He gets through that. D-Zig makes it through. Not really sure if there was touching between Camden and JFD. Arrow did make it through. Has no wing at the moment, just driving with the nose of the car.
It was Arrow and JFD, I believe.
I'm sure, as we know, GP, we will find out exactly what happened in the incident reports after this race.
No,
unfortunate for JFD, had it been Arrow, because Arrow is a reserve driver at the moment. JFD
correct,
holding the points, the championship points lead off of Puff. So Puff coming out of this race, if he can hold on to P1 as he is right now, with Beck going in for the pits for those softs, it's going to be huge for Puff as we're back green on that championship battle against him and JFD.
Barring the results of the previous race, Puck Digital wins, JFD no points. They are tied at 231.
As if this would go through, you say?
Correct. If Puck Digital were to win,
this would tie the race up. Huge for the Red Bulls. Huge for Puff. Arbiga, his teammate, in 6th. Shout out to Axton right now, though. Did go to the back for that pit stop, but he's sitting very clean in a P4 at the moment.
And those 10-lap-old mediums are fine.
They are in prime condition at the moment, I would say. Puff Digital does have that 3-second. Beck did take the pits for those softs, but we have Camden falling way behind as I speak from Puff. He's approaching 3 seconds. Doth is gaining on him with the 6-lap less used hards. So if Doth can take that position, very big day for Doth, getting up into P2 after, as I've mentioned a couple times, we have an issue. Sorry, as I was going through that, looks as if Biga and possibly Ginnett had a run in, not too sure, in the last 13 and 14, turns 13 and 14. But back up to Camden and Doth. Doth had a very rough start, as we saw, GP, getting into it. Not sure if it was with his teammate or not. Great qualifying session, but ended up at the back of the field at the beginning of the race. Huge drive for him.
I think he can get Camden. Puck Digital, I don't know, but I mean, for Doth right now, I think he'd be happy with 2nd place. He might be disappointed a little bit, but 2nd place is, given where he had dropped at the beginning of this race, I think he'd be very pleased with that.
Camden Luca leaves the session. Don't know if it was a lag out.
Oh, no.
So as you spoke, Doth does take P2. So that's going to drop him back. That's going to probably push Axton up to a P3. As he is a reserve driver, his position will not count, being that he's a full-time driver Tier 2. So that could throw D-Zig into a possible podium position here if Camden's ghost car does not pick up the pace, as we know they like to drive pretty slow. Charlie, you were saying in the chat, how did Doth manage to get through that incident? No idea, because it seemed as if Arrow and JFD got into each other. JFD full on retires, losing his right front tire in the wall. Arrow loses his full wing. He's currently sitting in 11th. Not too sure. Good driving by Doth to sneak through, holding on to P2 at the moment.
Yeah, Charlie.
Camden's car does decide to jump in the pits for the softs, so very unfortunate for Camden, setting P2. That puts Axton 3rd. Ryan makes it past D-Zig, so that's going to throw Ryan in a theoretical 3rd place. So great drive for him at the moment as well. Unfortunate, as I say again, for Camden.
Yeah, Arrow Strike. I'm rather surprised. He did get tangled up there in that incident, I believe. He's back in 10th on 2-lap-old softs. He's not going to make much of a move up the leaderboard from there. I think he's pretty much where he's going to be at, and I believe The only change that I expect to see would be Jinnit and Beck to move up. I don't think Bigga is going to move up very much, unfortunately.
Bigga was on Beck's tail, but it looks like he did drop out of DRS there, unfortunately, as you were saying. Ginnett makes the pass on D-Zig there, so D-Zig's falling back. Camden Luca did rejoin. Arrow DNFs. Arrow,
Oh, no.
we do have a yellow flag, Sector 3. Looks like Arrow fell apart, turns 11 and 12, as we've seen with, let's see, 7 drivers at the moment. No, that could be 6, and Andre Souza goes off.
Whoa.
In turn 13.
Wolfsburg! Oh no! Wolfsburg just bit it in the same corner.
Deadly corner, as we've...
Yeah,
deadly group.
That might be a full caution. He's right in the middle of the track. I don't know.
I think we are out of full safety cars at the moment.
Okay. Okay.
So we'll see what happens. Hopefully he is ghosted as we go on board here with Puff coming up through there. He's going to see Wolf, and he's going to go right around. See what Doth decides to do here. He sees Wolf, takes his way around, as well as Axton coming up through. Very unfortunate for Wolf, but we've seen so far through the race. Turns 11 and 12, incredibly deadly for people getting loose and taking a bend into that inside wall. Ginnett's going to make a look on the outside of Ryan. Has the spot at the moment, and it looks as if, yeah, he makes it stick. So that's a P4, theoretical P3 for Ginnett at the moment, being that Axton's position does not matter.
Yeah, and I think the top 5 right now are pretty much set. Yeah. Beck may be able to. I'm sorry. Beck may be able to get D-Zig.
Closest battle we have at the moment is between Ryan and Ginnett here. Ginnett has no DRS in front of him with that gap to Axton, so Ryan's going to be all over his tail as we move through. Beck takes D-Zig, as GP points out. So we got that little 4-way battle, 4, 5, 6, 7 going on. The top 3 have solid intervals between. Ginnett decides to take a little grass with him, do a little landscaping, as he would like to do on the way out of turn 8. As they head.
He's not been able to pull away from Ryan very far.
Not too much, as he doesn't have the DRS in front, but we'll see how they go through 11 and 12 here. Ryan takes a quality line through there. Ginnett goes a tad wide.
Oh, there goes. Oh,
Beck 9,000 trillion million. Unfortunately, retires
right there
from the race.
12.
Turn 11 and 12 as GP, the man himself, calls it out before the race starts. Very rough set of corners. Glad we're seeing it now, so we know what not to do Thursday night when we get in the car.
Go slow.
T-Money picks up a 3-second, but that's going to jump him up top 10 at the moment. Look at all the drivers we have DNF'd. Beck, Wolfsburg, Arrow, Sam, JFD. Very unfortunate with that championship lead. Going to be huge for Puff here to tie it back up. UK, Coxie, and Stig. We're going to go ahead and hop on board here with Puff as he's going to take us around. GP, why don't you check out what's going on between Ryan there and Ginnett. But I'm going to watch Mr. Puff get digital on his last lap of the Australian Grand Prix to show us how it's done.
Yeah, Ryan he's still just over half a second behind. Although he lost a little bit there, but I think Ginnett is on those 9-lap old softs is beginning to find a little bit of difficulty with the grip. He's had a little bit of difficulty going through that corner 12. So Ryan is still 3/4 of a second behind him and pressing. I think Ginnett's probably looking in his rearview mirror quite a bit right now, knowing the status of his tires. And Ryan is a very consistent driver, and Ryan is probably drooling, looking at Ginnett and saying, "I am going to pass this guy."
Great commentary from the man, the myth, the legend, GP Colin. and his first time up in the booth, helping me out today as my previous teammate up here in the booth had his child a few days ago. Very busy with that. Huge congratulations to you, Mr. Chicken, if you get a chance to watch the stream. As we've all said, just setting on board here with Puff Digital as he approaches the deadly 11 and 12 turns of the track. He's going to take the preferred quality line through there. Looks like as if he's going to sail off to victory.
Ryan closes to within 0.4 of a second. Oh, a little bit of a slip there, but he dropped back to 0.6. And we're coming up to the 11-12 sequence here. Who's going to get through here better? Zenith! Oh, Zenith! Ryan is closing. Zenith almost lost it, and Ryan is right on his tail, 0.3 behind.
Puff Digital takes the win. Huge drive for him. We're going to sit here and watch this Ryan Ginnett battle as we close out, as GP was walking us through it. And it looks as if Ginnett's going to hold on to it. Don't know if Ryan has any time penalties. We'll find that out. See if he can take the spot. This is for a theoretical third place. Ryan does make the jump on Ginnett. So that puts Ryan P3 because of Axton's being a reserve driver, not counting his finish. So huge drive to Axton. Quality props to your brother. Glad you got to show these Tier 1 guys what it's about. Show off your stuff. Also, huge congrats to Ryan for working on Mr. Ginnett there to get a P3. That's the end of the Grand Prix, but stick around. Throw questions in the chat, everyone, as you normally do, as we get these podium guys in here. GP, if you could go ahead and take care of that by inviting Puff, and I believe Doth and Ryan. I would believe that's the top three. And we'll get those guys in here and do a quick little post-race podium chat. I'll go ahead and walk a couple questions through the guys. 3, 2, 1 order, and then as we finish that up, GP, you can throw in your thoughts and pick up on anything I may have missed.
Okay. We're looking at Puff, Ryan,
and Mr. Doth.
Am I not Doth's friend on here? There we go. Invites are out.
All right, as we wait for those fellas to jump in here, GP, take us through your first race. Did you enjoy it? Did you have fun? How was it? You seemed like a natural at the end there.
I did enjoy it. I just wish that I had a better grip of the technology. Basically being able to stay on top of the gaps and whatnot. I didn't have that up on my screen for whatever reason. I struggled to get that back up there. So for the first 6 laps or so, I was just trying to hold onto your skirt tail and follow you along and try to give some insight. But overall, I hope I added something to it.
You did a quality job as the. I really enjoyed it. I was happy to have you up here with me, being that, Chicken has to take his break to take care of his little one. So it's good to have you in here, GP. But
thank you.
I'll get to the drivers here. As I heard, I think it was Puff, big breath. I'll get to you last as you're taking the race win there. But we're going to jump on with Ryan. Are you there?
Did Ryan get third?
Ryan clinches third because Axton's position doesn't count. So huge drive for Ryan. How was your race? Take us through it. You were all over the grid today.
Yeah.
Quality battle there with Ginnett at the end. Did you know he had 3 seconds?
I had no idea. And usually I'm the one that likes to check to see if you guys have penalties, but I don't know. I just felt like I was so into it that I just wanted to drive. There was a lot going on. Like you said, I was all over the place. I think in that last safety car, I was dead last. And then Vega and Ginnett got into it, and they took each other out, I guess. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. And then, yeah, it's just like, holy crap, my first podium, I think, of the season, so I'm extremely ecstatic.
Yeah, huge congratulations to you. Quality drive there.
Thank you.
It's good to see you. I mean, working your way all over the course there. As we saw, me and GP have pointed it out when you guys watch it back. There could have been a small delay. Not too sure. The stream looked like as if it delayed for a second. I'm sure it'll be fine through playback. But maybe a couple laps. Not too sure there. Then it came back at the end. But turns 11 and 12. Quick left hand, quick right hander. Doth, you made out like a scalded dog when Mr. JFD and Arrow got together.
That was the
I don't know how you made it
race.
through it. I don't know how you made it through that. I had JFD's view on the stream, on the broadcast. It was just instant. He decided to slingshot into the wall as hard as he possibly could. I don't know if that came from Arrow. I'm sure we'll find out. But huge drive to you, Doth. GP was calling you out as his winner of the race. So good on you pitting P2. Take us through your race.
That was freaking bonkers. So I started the race in third. I ran into either Puff's back or JFD's back. I thought JFD didn't get an awesome start, so Puff got a good one. So I snuck in behind Puff, and I thought Puff was going to go through, and then either I slowed down too late, or it doesn't matter. Point being is that I ended up in last with wing damage. Safety car. I pit. They didn't fix my wing damage.
I noticed that.
So then I pit again. So I had to go off my only set of hards because I figured I didn't need an extra set this race. Silly me. Actually, and then was all the way down in last. Came out and caught up to the safety car as it was about to restart. If it went out for another lap, I was going to pit again for hards. But and then I kind of started just going through traffic as I could. Ups to Zyke. He played he let me go on 1-2 because it was like better for both of us. And then I just kind of kept trying to stay out of trouble, and cars were literally just bouncing off of each other, and I was like I was like, there were a couple where I was like, I can't believe I'm still on the track.
Yeah,
and,
wild race start. It was unfortunate to see you drop back to the back there with D-Zig. We were talking about how the Ferraris, up top, go to the back. But you did that double pit stop and you made it work out. You made it clear through the JFD incident, which I'll move that into Mr. Puff, who got very digital on the track today.
Very digital today.
Huge props to you. We were doing the math. At least it was GP's math, so if it's wrong, blame GP. This could have tied. We think this might have tied you up with JFD for the championship standings.
So I'm not sure because obviously RC's not feeling well. Get better, bud. But I think with Baku, I was 23 points behind, so I actually think I jumped him by 2.
That's GP's at math. He didn't cross an O out.
It's not his fault. We're a bit behind.
I'm just giving him a hard time. Take us through your race, though. Take us through that race start there. Take us through that start there, Puff. Hell of a start. Bumping past.
It's his first day. Qualifying, I invalidated my final run. Well, I blew it first. I caught too much curb through the S. Lost a bunch and then invalidated on the next corner. So it would have been close. I think I could have got pole, but everyone's got a few tenths and you just gotta do it. So props to JFD. That was a wicked lap. And then I don't know. I got a really good start. Was pretty clear of him. And then due to the glare, I couldn't necessarily see my braking zone, so I kind of was guessing a bit. So I may have broke early. That might have been what Doth was seeing, but I made it through no contact, and then I looked behind, and it's carnage. I don't know what happened, who kind of caused what, but just mayhem. And then the first safety car restart, I got absolutely ripped off. They didn't tell me until the penultimate corner, like the left before you go into the right. I found out as the safety car is like going into the pit lane, so I kind of like panicked and. Not sure if I caused any issues there, but that one threw me off. And then I honestly can't even remember too much. It was wild. So many.
It was a quality race by all of you guys. 3 safety cars, I think 3 or 4 VSCs. Lots of people bowing out there in the 11 and 12, you know, hot left right chicane. Lots of people wrecked. I think we had 8 or 9 DNFs to this race.
Yeah, it was quite a few.
And good job by all of you. I think JFD might have been in front for one, or possibly Ginnett. But safety car restarts were clean, as from my point of view in the booth. So,
JFD actually got by me on the first lap after the first safety car. I kind of fishtailed. He snuck through. I was chasing him, and then I'm not sure, he got blocked in the pits, or I'm not sure what happened to him, but I got out in front, and then from that point, I'm pretty much just thinking, stay in front and, you know, take a couple points off him. And then I had a absolutely wild side-by-side with Zyg. I don't know if you guys caught that, but it was nuts. And then I think I clipped him a bit, so I do feel bad about that. And then the rest, I made a move on Camden, and then I think once I got in the lead, I knew I had 3 seconds. And then towards the end, I thought Doff was trying to like freak me out by putting in hot laps to get me to cut some corners or something. So I just tried to keep it cool and keep 3 seconds. So,
but
that was pretty much it.
Anyways, thanks for the quick interviews there. I wanna let GP, if he has any questions for the 3 of you, so we don't have to run this too far. But GP, first night in the booth, go ahead and ask the boys what you thought.
Yeah, so congratulations to you guys first off. JFD leading in the points as far as we know. We don't have the results from Baku here, but so he took pole, and he himself described himself as not necessarily a good qualifier. He just has really good race pace. So when I saw that he got pole, I thought that it was pretty much telling that he was going to have a very good race. Obviously, it didn't turn out that way. But my question is, how did you, Puff, and Doth, I guess we'll go with Puff first, did you have any thoughts when you saw that JFD got pole? Were you worried? Were you thinking, I got to make a really good start here to get in front of him? Or what was going through your mind at that point?
Oh, definitely. Doc knows we always kind of mess around in time trial each week just a little bit, and I actually couldn't match JFD's time, so I knew he had a lot of pace.
I couldn't either.
Yeah, I couldn't. I got really close, and I couldn't beat it. And then when he got pole, like you were saying, I started to get worried because he is kind of more of a race pace guy. Very rarely makes mistakes. Tonight was definitely an anomaly. So it was all the start. I knew I get pretty good race starts. That's what I was worried about. And then, because when I was behind him, I couldn't catch, not close enough to make any sort of a move, and started to get a little worried, you know, and kind of worked out for me. But yeah, that's my plan at least.
Do you start planning a different strategy after the first lap or two, and you find that, you know,
yeah, it's tough because I think the suggested strategy is lap 8 or 9 to pit, and then that's when you start thinking, you know, really undercut. Do I go for it? I know the tires were going to hold, but you just don't want to get caught in traffic and have the other guy get ahead. So, yeah, my mind's going to undercut probably around lap 7. I'm starting to think about it really. And then lap 8, the safety car came out, so obviously everyone jumps in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was my next shot, was going to try and get him with the undercut.
Well, all right, boys, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Huge race. Congrats to everybody. Round 17, the Australian GP, ZOR Tier-1, Zenith Online Racing. You can find us here, same time, same place next week, but we will be in France for the French Grand Prix, round 18. So, huge thank you to GP for being in the booth with me tonight, as we had to see Chicken take a bow out for the moment. And huge congratulations to you, top 3, Puff, Doth, and Ryan. And we'll close it out there.
Thank you.